Welcome, Planeteers. Today I am here with something rather interesting, where we investigate the events that happened 70,000 years ago. For those who have not watched any of my previous discussions, where we had discussed the evolution of intelligence and its timelines, the title was, I guess, Why Artificial Intelligence is History Repeating Itself. Check that if you haven't, but I'll summarize it here. The basic idea is that despite having the same brain for over 250,000 years, humans did not behave in any way different from other species. But something happened 70,000 years ago that suddenly humans developed intelligence, which led to development of art, culture, language, social structure, and humans started to move away from all other species on the planet and really became overlords of Earth in every sense of the word. So much so that the human biomass today is 100 times that of any other species in the history of Earth, and we are still growing. So, what happened 70,000 years ago that changed all this? While scientists are still figuring this out, let's investigate the timeline and understand the events that happened around this time. More specifically, there were two events that changed it all. I mentioned earlier that humans are the largest biomass on Earth, but that was not always the case. In fact, there was a time we went as low as only a few thousand reproductive deraggled Homo sapiens struggled together in a pitiful little clumps, hunting and gathering for thousands of years in the late Stone Age. We humans began to recover, but for a time there, we were damn near extinction. So what happened? Around 70,000 BC, a volcano called Toba on Sumatra in Indonesia went off, blowing roughly 650 miles of vaporized rock into the air. It is the largest volcanic eruption we know of, dwarfing everything else. You can check the picture here. That eruption dropped roughly 6 centimeters of ash. The layer can still be seen on land over all of South Asia, the Indian Ocean, the Arabian and South China Sea. According to the Volcanic Explosivity Index, the Toba eruption scored an 8, which translates to mega colossal. That's two orders of magnitude greater than the largest volcanic eruption in historic times at Mount Tambora in Indonesia, which caused the 1816 year without the summer in the northern hemisphere. With so much ash, dust, and vapor in the air, it's safe guess that Toba dimmed the sun for at least 6 years, disrupted seasonal rains, choked off streams, scattered whole cubic miles of hot ash. Imagine wading through a giant ash tray across acres and acres of plants. Berries, fruits, trees, African game became scarce. Early humans living in the East Africa just across the Indian Ocean from Mount Toba probably starved, or at least, I mean, the population plummeted, to say the least. Then, and this is more of a conjectural based on arguable evidence, an already cool Earth got colder. The world was having an ice age 70,000 years ago, and all that dust hanging in the atmosphere may have bounced warming sunshine back into space. There's in fact evidence that the average temperature dropped 20 plus degrees in some spots, after which the great grassy plains of Africa may have shrunk way back, keeping the small bands of humans small and hungry for hundreds, if not thousands of more years. So we almost vanished. And is it not funny that time and again volcanoes happen to be the Earth's reset button of sorts? This is not the first time volcanoes have altered Earth and diverted evolution in a new direction, completely altering its characteristics to suit a new group of species. Ironically, the entire age of dinosaurs can be bracketed between two volcanic eruptions that started it and then ended it. Everyone knows about the infamous end, but there was a volcanic eruption around 235 million years ago that promoted the growth of dinosaurs, helping them diversify and branch out into new species. If you want to learn more about this, read about Triassic volcanic eruptions. It reminds me something of the world engine in Man of Steel, but something more subtle, stealthy, slow, but way more effective. That is why I call them the reset button. But it's the same type of events that repeatedly continue to alter Earth the repeated patterns sometimes smell fishy and hint at other powers being involved, but that's for a different discussion. The key point here is that 70,000 years ago, the entire human species was down to mere thousands, which makes it large enough number to restart the population splurge, but small enough to be manipulated, experimented on, or subject to stimuli that altered evolution and gene so that the following generation continue it and take this forward. This could have been done in so many different ways because it was the perfect setting. The numbers were extremely small. Moreover, they were all together in a small group to save themselves. Then who provided the stimuli? Or what intervened? Or what happened that altered humans' destiny forever? And this brings us to the second point. And so before I move to the second point, which is very unconventional and does not have any scientific backing as of now, I would like to convey that I am an atheist. And that means I do not believe in the concept of God per se and all that, but I can't turn a blind eye towards religion. Something so grand and so large that has influenced human beings over millennia can't entirely be just a lie. Of course, this has been very fantastically portrayed, but you have to discount it because the lack of documentation methods at that time and information was transferred orally over generations, and folklores became a good way to teach children. Pragmatically, if we take religion as history and instead of ignoring it completely, we should take it along with science because it just might be the missing piece of the jigsaw. Where am I getting at is this.
And there's a book on Adiyogi, which is going into these aspects, but let me put it across. See, there are things, as you said, there is no parentage. When you talk about Shiva, there is no parentage, there is no place of birth, nobody saw him as a young boy to grow up. All the time when we saw him, he was about the same age. So there is no birth, there is no death, there is no parentage, there is no siblings, there is no anything to prove that he was here. Does it mean to say we can assume he came from somewhere? One thing is the level of intelligence in terms of his mathematics, his music and his geometry, what he thought in terms of that. When you look at it, the times that we are referring to, see, in the yogic culture, let me admit this in front of this crowd because, oh my God, there are cameras. In the yogic lore, it is estimated Shiva or Adiyogi existed as a person. He walked this land somewhere between 60 to 75,000 years ago. But actually, in the yogic lore, there is a clear aspect of… they're talking about celestial arrangements. These celestial arrangements, if you go by the modern astronomy, they existed only somewhere between 60 to 80,000 years. In that span, there is no two ways about it, the things that he is talking about. The significance of Adiyogi is this: for the first time for the human beings, he said, if you are willing to strive, you can cross all the limitations that nature has set up for you. Only thing is if you're willing to strive. So he spoke about evolution and he said, till now evolution happened without your consent. Now you have the privilege to decide how far you want to evolve. This is he said, this is the most significant aspect of being human is this, that you decide your evolution.
And whatever Sadhguru said does make sense, and not in the typical form of God, but more as an extraterrestrial being who intervened, and now this could primarily be to save humanity from near extinction and use a limited population as the starting point to ignite consciousness in the species, which would be easier to spread to the future generations as humans will begin to multiply. It is not just coincident that he is called Adiyogi or the first yogi, because yoga itself is the awakening of the mind and the consciousness, and in literal sense, being the first yogi, he awakened intelligence for the first time in humans, and this is where humans deviated from being earthly animals to godly beings. And now sometimes I feel that if the super volcano that caused this near extinction was an orchestrated event, it could very well be, because it was time taken to awaken or modify the species. I use modify because I still don't think intelligence was dormant in humans at that stage. Uh, I mean, chimpanzees have 99.7% same genome as us, but why didn't the intelligence awaken in them? The only selected ones that were modified became humans. So there is so much on this that I can go on and on about this, but I will be deviating from the topic, and this would lead to an endless discussion. So I'll end this here, and I would like you to share your views on this, what you feel about this, any points that you have regarding this in the comment section below. And until next time, live long and prosper.